So Masters of the Universe was directed by Travis Knight and it stars Nicholas Galzatine, Camila Mendes, Idris Elba, Alison Brie, Jared Leto, and it's about Adam. He was a man who was uh, thrown to Earth for his own safety, and he is the hero of this land known as Eternia. And when he finds a sword that is connected to his destiny, he returns to Eternia, and he must fight against Skeletor to reclaim his land and such. So this was a movie that, admittedly, I was not really looking forward to. I did not grow up on He-Man by any means. I was born after He-Man was really popular and such. And I just remember He-Man more for the jokes and the memes more than anything, so I had no real connection to this movie. The movie itself looked alright, like it looked kind of fun, kind of looked like they were kind of taking it a little too seriously in my opinion, but I still wanted to give this movie a chance at least because, why not? And having seen the movie, I say the movie is fine, but the movie is not amazing. Like, I'm pretty sure if you're a fan of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series, you're probably going to enjoy this movie more than I did. So, let's start with the things I do like. First off, I do think some of the actors do a good job. Nicholas Galzatine as Adam slash He-Man. I thought he was likable in the role. Jared Leto surprised me. Now, I am not a Jared Leto fan by any means. I can't stand him, whether he appears in anything or just, I can't stand him. He's surprisingly one of the better parts of this movie as Skeletor. I think it also helps that I can't see his face. But I think he's the only one who I think a lot of the humor from him works, and I feel like he's actually kind of menacing in the role. Alison Brie is at least trying to give, like, dimension to her character. I think she's kind of having fun with her evil character in this movie. Also, the world of Eternia itself looks really cool. It's one of those worlds that it's like, I kind of want to explore this world to see what it's like. From the castles to Castle Grayskull and such. This looks like a very fascinating world to just go through and such. The music by Daniel Pemberton, I thought was actually really good. It actually felt epic, kind of felt very much like from the 80s era and such, like when He-Man was really popular and such. There's also a moment around the third act where it's like there's a song that's playing and it's like I kind of had a big smile on my face because I love the band and such. And it's like it was really cool to hear that song in this movie and such. And I will say that the movie definitely has a very 80s vibe to it, where it's like it definitely felt like it was from that era and such. But again, that's kind of where He-Man was really popular and such. And I felt like this movie tried to at least emulate a lot of the stuff from like 80s and such, like the tone and style of the movie overall. And I definitely felt like there were fun moments throughout this entire movie, whether it's like the action scenes were just fun and over the top and ridiculous and such. And I felt like when the movie was at least trying to have a good time, it actually was. But let's talk about some of the things I don't like about this movie. First off, the pacing and length of this movie. Now, I figured a movie like Masters of the Universe, if they were going to do a movie like this movie would be like just under 2 hours, no big deal. Looking at the runtime for this movie, it is 2 hours and 20 minutes and includes credits and actual post-credit scenes and such. And I'm like, this movie is really long, and you definitely feel that at times. There are definitely some moments in this movie, particularly some of the scenes where Adam's on Earth, where it's like, you could have tightened a lot of these scenes up, and it's just would have worked a little bit better, would have flowed a little bit better than it actually did. Also, I felt like some of the actors in this movie were just kind of wasted. How does Hollywood still not know what to do with Idris Elba at this point? It's just getting frustrating. I felt like Idris Elba was kind of just wasted in this movie. Camila Mendes as Tila, I thought she was kind of wasted in this movie too. And their whole story, I felt like it didn't entirely go anywhere, and it felt like it was like, I've kind of seen a lot of this before, and it's just like, you could have cut this out of the movie entirely, and it probably would have been better. Also, a lot of the humor kind of falls flat. Like, when the movie actually has some meta humor, it's actually kind of funny, like when they're kind of trying to make fun of the whole concept of He-Man, that's when it was actually kind of funny. But the rest of the movie, when it's like, just kind of saying things that are supposed to be funny, it's just like, it's not very funny. It's just kind of bland and just kind of one of those movies where it's like, I can see you kind of want to be a funny movie, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of, say, Dungeons and Dragons from a few years back, where it's like, that was a movie, it was like, I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm going to go into it, and I actually had a really good time with that movie. This movie, I felt like it's an alright time. Like, there are times where it's like, okay, this movie can be fun, like, the action scenes are pretty fun, and some of the performances are really good, but I felt like the movie just dragged on, and it's like, your movie does not need to be this long, and this movie just definitely did not need to be as long as it is. And it just felt like they wanted to do a lot more than they actually they wanted to do a lot in this movie, and I felt like they didn't know where to actually go with this movie. So I will say Masters of the Universe, a lot of it does look very good. The visuals look great. The actual production design of this movie looks really good. There are some decent performances, including Nicholas Galzatine, Alison Brie, and even Jared Leto didn't piss me off in this movie, so that was a good thing. Also, I did like the music of this movie. It definitely had a very 80s vibe to the overall movie, and it's overall fun, but I definitely wouldn't say it's a funny movie. When it tries to be funny, it's just awkward. Some characters could have been cut, and again, this movie would have benefited, in my opinion, if this movie was at least like 30 minutes shorter. And it just felt like you could have just tightened up a lot of these scenes. I will give Masters of the Universe 2.5 out of 4 stars. Stream it. So, what is something from your childhood that you would like to see adapted into modern times? You know, we've had that over for a long, long time. It's like, I'm curious, what would you like to see? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat. Stay safe.